The silence was the worst part. For 32 years, my life had a rhythm. Alarm at 5, coffee brewing, the hum of the factory floor. Now, the loudest thing in the house was the ticking clock. Each tick reminded me of time slipping by, unused. The severance package felt less like a safety net and more like a countdown. At 53, the world didn't need a guy who could diagnose a machine by its groan. I was that machine now. Sarah tried to fill the quiet with stories from her day, but I saw the worry in her eyes. I'd mumble about job searches, but mostly I stared out the window, watching the world move on. The house felt smaller, the walls closing in. I wandered from room to room, a ghost in my own home. Nothing held my attention. The man in the mirror looked lost, a stranger. The pride I once had in providing was gone, replaced by a hollow ache. This wasn't retirement. It was an eviction from the life I knew. My job was obsolete. Was I? The silence was a heavy blanket, smothering any motivation I had left. I was drowning in the quiet, not knowing how to ask for help. I didn't even know what kind of help to ask for. The days bled together, and I was falling into the void. The silence was winning. One Saturday, Sarah found me in the garage, staring at the lump under a dusty tarp. The shape was unmistakable. A 1968 Mustang, my dad's car. It hadn't moved since he died, just collecting dust and memories. "That thing isn't going to fix itself," Sarah said, handing me coffee. "It's a wreck," I muttered. "A miracle couldn't save it." She smiled. "Maybe a miracle is what you need. You need something to do with your hands." My hands, once calloused and capable, now felt useless. The idea of tackling the Mustang was terrifying. A mountain of work, a pit of expenses. But doing nothing was worse. Sarah touched my arm. "Your dad always said he'd teach you to work on it. Maybe it's not too late." Her words hit a nerve. The car was unfinished business between us. I looked from her hopeful face to the shrouded car. Maybe she was right. Maybe it was time to stop staring at the ghost and start getting my hands dirty. I pulled the tarp off, dust swirling in the air. The car looked worse than I remembered. Faded, rusted, defeated. But beneath the decay, I saw a challenge. I saw a chance to reclaim something lost. I took a deep breath. It was time to begin. Taking the Mustang apart was like opening a tomb. Every bolt fought me. Every scrape drew blood. The garage became my sanctuary and my torture chamber. The car was a constant reminder of my dad. His old gloves, a faded gas receipt, pieces of a life. Working on it felt like a one-sided conversation with him. At first, the rust was just decay, a sign of neglect. But as I ground it away, I saw it differently. The rust was proof the metal had endured. It was a scar, a testament to survival. In a strange way, I started to respect the rust. It had held on, just waiting for someone to care. Piece by piece, I was fighting for both the car and myself. Maybe, just maybe, we could both be restored. The project became an obsession. My days revolved around grease and sweat and searching for parts. But the costs piled up. Each new part a victory for the car, a loss for our savings. The tension in the house grew. Sarah's smiles grew tighter as the bills stacked up. "Mark, we can't do this," she said, holding a bill that was more than our mortgage. "It's more than a car. It's the only thing keeping me sane," I snapped. The words hung between us, sharp and heavy. The Mustang, meant to be a bridge, had become a wall. We stood in silence, feeling like strangers. That night, I lay awake, realizing the cost was becoming too high. I was losing more than money. I was losing us. Defeated, I retreated to the garage. Ready to quit, I opened my dad's old toolbox and found a leather-bound journal, Mustang notes. It wasn't just repairs, it was a diary. He wrote about buying the car before Vietnam, about driving me home from the hospital, about his fears and hopes. "Sometimes I feel like this old car, a little beat up, a little rusty, but the frame is still good." He understood the fear of being obsolete. The Mustang was his therapy, his way of fighting back. A final entry: "I hope one day Mark understands. It's not about the chrome. It's about knowing you can take something broken and make it whole again." Tears mixed with grease on my cheeks. The car wasn't a burden. It was a gift. A roadmap back to myself. My father's way of telling me how to find my way home. I closed the journal, feeling his presence. I wasn't alone in this struggle. I knew what I had to do. I handed Sarah the journal, opened to the page about bringing me home from the hospital. She read, and her eyes filled with understanding. The wall between us crumbled. "Let's finish it," she said, "together." The work changed. Sarah joined me in the garage, learning, helping, laughing. We rebuilt parts, found creative solutions, and the project became ours. The garage filled with conversation and hope. We were fixing more than just the car. The day came to start the engine. With Sarah by my side, I turned the key. The engine roared to life, a deep, beautiful sound. It was the sound of victory, of perseverance, of a promise kept. We drove into the sunset, the Mustang gleaming, the past and future united. The rust wasn't defeat, it was survival. I wasn't a laid-off worker anymore. I was my father's child, someone who could take something broken and make it whole again. In fixing the Mustang, I had healed myself.